In the heart of downtown Chicago, where the city buzz never dies and high-end restaurants line the streets like jewels, Le Solstice was the crown jewel. It was where the elite dined, where fortunes were made over steaks, and reputations unraveled in a single evening. On one crisp Thursday night, the air was electric with power deals and soft jazz, until a storm rolled in that no one saw coming. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell to get notified for more, share to friends. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story goes. The restaurant's mood shifted the moment Victor Langston walked in. He was a billionaire tech mogul with a reputation just as sharp as his jawline, ruthless in business, colder in heart. His entourage flanked him like Secret Service agents, but all eyes were on Victor, the man who once fired a CFO mid-flight for disagreeing over stock buybacks. Alyssa, a 27-year-old black waitress with 2 part-time jobs and dreams of launching her own cafe someday, was assigned his table. She'd heard the rumors. Victor didn't tolerate delays, errors, or attitude. But she wasn't intimidated. Alyssa had served senators, rappers, CEOs. She'd seen egos, but she knew how to keep her cool. As she approached with practiced grace and poise, Victor was already scanning the menu like he was reading code. His tone was curt. "Water. Flat. No ice." "Make sure it's not tap," he said, not bothering to look up. Alyssa nodded politely, turned, and returned moments later, bottle in hand. But as she poured the water, a single drop splashed onto the table. Just one. Victor's chair scraped back violently. The entire dining hall stilled. "What is this?" he snapped, his voice slicing through the restaurant like broken glass. "Is this how you people serve billionaires? One job. Pour water." A hush fell across the room. Forks froze mid-air. Conversations died. Every eye locked on them. Alyssa stood frozen for half a beat. Her fingers tightened slightly around the bottle. The manager, a pale man named Mr. Dennis, stepped in quickly. "Sir, please, let me." Victor raised a hand, silencing him. "No. Let her speak. I want to hear how she explains this incompetence." Alyssa looked Victor square in the eyes. No trembling. No anger. Just clarity. Then she said it. "Where I come from, we clean the mess, not the person." The silence cracked like a thunderclap. A couple in the corner gasped audibly. One waiter dropped a spoon. Victor's mouth hung slightly open. His brain seemed to register her words, but not their weight. His face, momentarily smug, flushed pink, then red. It was a sentence he couldn't unhear, not because it was loud, but because it was true. Someone started clapping. Just one at first. Then another. And then, like a wave, the room burst into a soft applause. Alyssa didn't move, didn't flinch. She just took a napkin, wiped the tiny spill, and walked away with her head high. Victor sat, stunned. Dennis turned toward Alyssa. "Can I speak to you in the back?" She followed. Behind the kitchen door, he whispered frantically, "You can't talk to customers like that, especially him. He funds half the tech conventions in this city. Apologize." "No. I didn't insult him. I just reminded him I'm human," she replied quietly. Dennis's jaw clenched. "You're suspended. Indefinitely." Word traveled fast. Someone had filmed the moment. Within the hour, it was on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. "Waitress stands her ground against Billionaire. Mic drop moment," was trending. Comments flooded in. "She's got more dignity than most CEOs. That line. Gold. Protect Alyssa at all costs." But the biggest twist came the next morning. A woman named Clara Dean, a majority investor in several luxury restaurant chains, including Le Solstice, flew in from New York. A quiet, observant figure with silver braids and a courtroom aura, Clara walked in, reviewed the footage, then requested to meet the entire staff. Standing at the center of the dining hall, she looked around and said, "I've built empires from scratch. I've also seen them burn from arrogance." Her eyes locked on Dennis. "You fired the wrong person." Dennis tried to protest. "I didn't fire her. You suspended a woman for standing up for her dignity. Meanwhile, you coddled a man who publicly humiliated her over a drop of water." Clara turned to Alyssa. Would you consider managing this place? Silence again. Alyssa blinked. Me. You, Clara confirmed. You stood with grace under pressure. That's leadership. Victor, who had returned that morning to offer a weak apology after the backlash, stood nearby, clearly caught off guard. Clara didn't even look in his direction. Later that week, Dennis was removed. Alyssa became the youngest assistant manager Le Solstice had ever had. Her promotion was not out of pity but principle. She restructured staff policies to prioritize employee dignity and launched a mentorship program for junior servers with dreams of entrepreneurship. Victor, for all his billions, learned something he couldn't buy: respect is earned, not demanded. The moral: in a world where status often tries to silence decency, Alyssa reminded us that courage doesn't always come with a raised voice. Sometimes it's a sentence, calmly spoken, that echoes loudest. If this story moved you, hit that like button, share with someone who needs this, and tell us, what would you have done in Alyssa's shoes?